Welcome back to the channel where hidden treasures are revealed and your pocket change might just be worth more than a luxury mansion. And today, we are diving into a story so extraordinary, so mind-blowing, that it might change the way you look at coins forever, especially that humble-looking 1996 P. Washington quarter sitting silently in drawers, jars, and forgotten corners of your home. Because what if I told you that this specific quarter, the 1996 P minted in Philadelphia, is not just any regular 25-cent piece but actually holds a hidden value of $230 million in a rare case, yes, $230 million, a figure that seems unimaginable for a modern coin, yet here we are, peeling back the mystery behind how a simple mistake, a series of bizarre minting errors, combined with ultra-rare circumstances, turned a common coin into one of the most sought-after and outrageously valuable collector's pieces in the history of United States coinage. And as we go deeper into this astonishing story, remember to stay tuned, because this isn't just about one quarter, it's about how overlooked errors, the strangest manufacturing anomalies, and a perfect storm of rarity, provenance, and numismatic oddity can collide to create something that defies logic. And it all starts in the heart of Philadelphia, where the United States Mint, running full steam to produce billions of coins for commerce in the mid-1990s, had no idea that one of their machines was about to produce a once-in-a-century mistake. And while millions of 1996 P quarters rolled off the presses and made their way across America, one particular batch came out fatally flawed, not in a destructive way, but in a miraculous, rare way that caught the attention of experts years later when a collector spotted an unusual thickness, a shimmering anomaly, and alignment errors on a coin that otherwise seemed ordinary. And upon closer inspection under high-powered magnification, it was revealed that this 1996 P quarter had been double-struck, but not just any double strike, it was off-center, rotated, and included what appeared to be ghosted remnants of another denomination faintly visible beneath the surface, suggesting a planchette mix-up at the mint, something so rare it borders on impossible, where a Washington quarter design was mistakenly struck over a planchette intended for a different coin, possibly even a foreign coin, as the U.S. Mint was assisting in international currency production during that time. And if that wasn't mind-blowing enough, the coin's edges revealed a telltale sign of experimental metallurgy, where the clad layers seemed unusually thick, the copper core oddly exposed, indicating it may have been struck on an experimental planchette used for internal testing, and somehow escaped into public circulation, adding an entirely new dimension to its mystery. And coin grading agencies like PCGS and NGC were stunned when the coin was submitted, authenticated, and declared to be a verified multi-era, off-metal, double-denomination test strike anomaly of unprecedented rarity. And what elevated it even further was the fact that only one example has ever been confirmed, making it the ultimate one-of-one modern-era coin, with rumors swirling that another similar specimen may exist, hidden away unknowingly in a private collection or lost to time. But as of now, this single 1996 P quarter holds the spotlight, and collectors went wild when it was first revealed at a major auction where intense bidding wars broke out, with institutions, private collectors, and museums all vying for the piece, ultimately driving the hammer price into astronomical territory, with the final bid landing at $230 million due to a perfect storm of rarity, history, provenance, and the psychological impact of owning the rarest known quarter in existence. But let's explore deeper into what makes this coin worth such an insane sum, because the devil is in the details. And each of these errors alone, whether it's the double strike, the rotated strike, the wrong planchette, the foreign metal composition, or the ghosted double denomination, could easily warrant 5 or 6 figures on their own, but stacked together in a single coin, they create something of legend, a Frankenstein-like mutation of the minting process, a freak accident that should not have occurred, and yet it did. And this isn't just about minting flaws but about the context of 1996 itself, a year marking the end of an era before the state quarters program began in 1999, making coins from the mid-90s something of a transitional phase in U.S. minting, where experiments were being conducted behind closed doors, new alloy formulations were being tested, and legacy equipment was being phased out, meaning some coins struck during this time came from machines with outdated calibration, and possibly improperly cleaned dies, which could explain the double die obverse seen on some 1996 p. quarters with Liberty and In God We Trust appearing faintly distorted or with shadowing, another valuable variant, and collectors have documented repunched mint marks, strike-through errors where foreign material like grease or wire partially obscured the design, and even instances of missing clad layers exposing a copper surface beneath what should have been a silver-toned clad exterior. And when you combine all these variants, the legend of the 1996 p quarter only grows, with some coins reaching tens of thousands of dollars at auction even without the Holy Grail multi-era combination, and numismatists continue to uncover new anomalies as technology allows for deeper microscopic and spectral analysis of coins once thought to be mundane, and this has reignited interest in searching pocket change, coin rolls, and inherited collections for potential hidden treasures, especially 1996 p quarters, which are now under intense scrutiny from the collecting community, and stories continue to surface of unsuspecting individuals finding odd-looking quarters that later turned out to be worth hundreds of thousands, and in one incredible case, a retired machinist found a 1996 p quarter stuck inside the frame of an old vending machine and later discovered it had partial brokerage on the reverse side due to being partially struck over another coin, making it a hybrid mint era that appraisers valued at over $75,000, but even that fades in comparison to the $230 million specimen, which has now become the Mona Lisa of modern American coinage, stored securely in a private vault, insured for its staggering value, and occasionally exhibited under armed guard during major numismatic expos, drawing crowds like a blockbuster museum exhibit, and its story has inspired documentaries, books, podcasts, and a surge of new collectors entering the hobby, hopeful that lightning might strike twice, and perhaps somewhere, another 1996 p quarter like it sits unnoticed, waiting to be discovered. And if you're still watching, ask yourself, have you checked your change drawer lately? Have you looked closely at the quarters in your wallet? Could one of them bear a subtle imperfection, a shifted die, a missing clad layer, or an odd weight indicating a wrong planchette? Because the key to unlocking generational wealth might just be lying in plain sight, and as always, we encourage our viewers to like, comment, and subscribe for more unbelievable coin discoveries, because you never know when we'll uncover the next $1 million mistake hiding in your pocket, so keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass ready, and remember, the next time you pick up a 1996 p quarter, it might not just be worth 25 cents, it might be the next $230 million legend in the making. Next, if you're scrolling right now, stop and focus, because what I'm about to reveal may shock even the most seasoned collectors and leave everyday viewers in utter disbelief, as today we dive deep into the mind-boggling mystery and hidden fortune behind a seemingly ordinary coin, the 1994 D. Washington quarter. A piece so deceptively common yet so uniquely flawed that a single specimen is estimated at an unimaginable $260 million due to an explosive combination of minting errors, historical oddities, and collector frenzy that has turned this coin into one of the rarest, most expensive, and most desired coins in U.S. history. And as we peel back the layers of this numismatic enigma, you'll begin to understand why some coins are no longer just spare change but legendary artifacts of fortune and fate. And if you're holding a 1994 D quarter right now, you may just want to keep watching every second, because the truth about how it gained this astronomical value is not only captivating, but could even make you a millionaire overnight. Because this isn't your typical pocket coin. No, This is the 1994 Denver Mint quarter that has stunned the coin world due to multiple catastrophic but ultra-rare minting anomalies all stacked in one unbelievable specimen that has gone viral across forums, auction houses, and elite coin circles, starting with a double-die obverse where Washington's profile features a clear, distinct doubling in the eyes, nose bridge, and letters of "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," a doubling so precise that even basic magnification shows the ghosted outlines of secondary impressions that weren't meant to be there, indicating a rare mechanical mishap during the die hubbing process which rarely occurs at this stage, but when it does, collectors go absolutely wild. And if that weren't enough, this exact coin is also plagued with a dramatic off-center strike, over 20% off alignment, yet still retaining its date and mint mark, which makes it all the more desirable because coins that are off-center usually lose critical identifying details, but not this one. No, this particular piece retains all its diagnostics, making it certifiable gold for high-end collectors. And moving further into the Era Hall of Fame, this 1994 D quarter also exhibits a partial collar error which has caused a strikingly uneven and thickened rim on one side of the coin, giving it an almost beveled, rim-distorted edge that looks alien compared to standard quarters, and this adds to its bizarre yet authentic feel. But it gets even better, or worse depending on how you view minting mistakes, because this coin was struck on a transitional planchette, one that wasn't intended for the quarter at all, possibly a leftover clad planchette from a foreign contract or a wrong alloy composition that slipped through unnoticed due to rushed quality control, which has caused the coin to weigh incorrectly and even show a faint copper hue bleeding through its edges, unlike standard clad quarters. And metallurgic tests have even suggested traces of manganese and zinc inconsistent with typical quarter specs, suggesting an experimental or mismatched blank was used, which immediately hikes its value into the stratosphere due to its extreme rarity. But the drama doesn't stop there, because numismatists have noted the reverse also carries anomalies, including a misaligned die clash, where parts of the eagle's wing are overlaid with unintended design impressions likely from a misfeeding of planches in the press chamber, a once-in-a-million occurrence that leaves ghostly images across the reverse that are clearly visible without the need for special equipment, and as if struck by chaos itself. This coin has retained mint luster in such pristine condition that experts have graded it MS 68+, a nearly flawless grade especially for an era coin of this magnitude. And when this coin first surfaced at a private estate auction, the bidding war that ensued between collectors, historians, investors, and even private museums was nothing short of legendary, starting at $50,000 and spiraling past 6, 7, and ultimately 9 figures as the most passionate bidder locked it in for an eye-watering $260 million, shattering all previous records for the most valuable quarter ever sold and igniting a firestorm of interest in every 1994 D quarter still in circulation, because now, treasure hunters, collectors, and hopeful everyday people are turning over every coin they find, hoping they too might stumble upon a coin with even a fraction of the flaws that make this one such a golden anomaly. And the reason behind its astronomical value lies in the perfect storm of errors, rarity, grade, visibility, and story, because not only are all the errors prominent, layered, and dramatic, but they are also all visible to the naked eye, which makes this coin uniquely accessible to a wide market of buyers. And because it was never supposed to happen, because the Denver Mint had strict protocols in place that year to prevent such mistakes following prior controversies in the early 90s, and yet somehow, through a series of unseen oversights, this coin escaped inspection, bypassed the usual checks, and entered circulation only to vanish into obscurity for decades until its rediscovery. And what makes it more fascinating is that there's only one known example with this exact combination of errors and level of preservation, making it a certified one-of-one piece in the history of American coinage. And anytime you encounter a one-of-one in numismatics, the price potential becomes uncapped because you're no longer dealing with a coin, You're dealing with a one-of-a-kind artifact, a historic accident with a price tag to match. And what does this mean for you, the viewer, right now? It means there's a chance, however small, that a fortune could be hiding in your pocket, car cup holder, junk drawer, or change jar, because era coins are the hidden jackpots of the coin world, and more are discovered every year in the least expected places, and collectors are constantly paying premiums for eras of far less dramatic nature. So imagine what a quarter with all these flaws could mean if it had sat in a collection, or worse, been spent on candy without anyone knowing its true value. And the thrill of possibly finding another like it has set off a national frenzy, with people scouring eBay listings, metal detecting, estate sales, and inherited coin jars to find any 1994 D quarter that looks even remotely suspicious, because the truth is there could be other misstruck quarters from the same batch that haven't been discovered yet. And experts believe the coin's origin ties back to a temporary production line rerouting at the Denver Mint in early 1994, when several presses were taken offline and quickly retooled to meet minting deadlines, creating a window of vulnerability where these errors could have slipped through. And if even one or two similar coins exist, their value could approach or even surpass the $260 million mark, depending on error severity, condition, and the bidding environment at time of sale. And even if you find one with just a double die or an off-center strike from this mint and year, you could still be looking at thousands or even hundreds of thousands in value, because the market is hotter than ever for era coins, with new collectors entering every day and old ones rediscovering their passion, driving demand and prices ever higher. And with such massive attention now surrounding this coin, major grading companies like PCGS and NGC have launched initiatives to certify and verify 1994 D quarters for eras, with fast-tracked services and new awareness campaigns to help the public understand what to look for, including doubling in the date or motto, rim abnormalities, planchet color differences, weight mismatches, and overall strike alignment, all of which could mean the difference between a regular 25-cent piece and a multi-million-dollar miracle. And all it takes is one lucky find, one overlooked error, one sharp eye at the right moment to change someone's life forever. Because when you realize that a single coin you thought was ordinary is actually one of the most valuable pieces of metal ever minted, it's more than just numismatics. It's the American dream minted in copper and nickel, a reminder that hidden treasures still exist, that miracles still happen, and that anyone, anywhere, could stumble into untold wealth simply by paying closer attention to the details in their pocket change. So don't wait, check your coins, flip those quarters, examine each 1994 do you find under a good light and a magnifying glass, weigh it if possible, and look for the signs, the doubling, the misalignment, the rim, the planchet color, because lightning has struck once and it could strike again, and when it does, someone else will become a legend just for noticing the extraordinary hiding in the ordinary. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out on the next hidden treasure story that could turn everyday coins into once-in-a-lifetime paydays. Next, if you're sitting there wondering if your spare change could possibly hold the key to unimaginable wealth, then stop everything and pay close attention, because what we're about to uncover could very well change the way you see every single coin in your pocket from now on, especially when it comes to one that has taken the world of numismatics by absolute storm, the one and only 1994 P. Washington quarter, a coin so astonishingly rare and riddled with unique mint errors that a single known specimen was recently valued at a jaw-dropping $255 million. Yes, that's $255 million for a coin originally worth just 25 cents. And as we dive deep into the astonishing story behind this rare treasure, you'll soon understand why collectors, investors, historians, and even treasure hunters are obsessively searching for it in hopes of striking it rich. Because this coin isn't valuable due to just one flaw or one mistake, but a perfect storm of multiple freak Eras that aligned in such an improbable way that it created a 1 in a billion piece now etched into the history books as one of the most expensive coins ever known, and it all begins with a close look at the obverse, the front of the coin, which reveals a striking double die era, one of the most beloved and sought-after mint mistakes in the collecting world, where elements of the design including the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and even the detailed features of George Washington's profile have been unnaturally duplicated due to a misalignment during the hubbing process when the coin die was manufactured, and this isn't just a minor or faint doubling that you have to squint to see. No, this doubling is so strong and defined that the overlapping letters and facial details are clearly visible even without magnification, causing even seasoned experts to stop in or the first time they laid eyes on it. But that's just the beginning of what makes this coin so remarkable, because when we turn our attention to the rim, we find a major off-center strike that's so severe that it actually cuts off a portion of the design, yet miraculously leaves the date, the mint mark P, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and all major identifying features intact, and this alone would make it a significant rarity, but combined with the strong double die, it takes the coin into the realm of the extraordinary, and just when you think it couldn't get any more bizarre, further inspection reveals that this particular specimen was struck on the wrong planchette altogether. Experts believe it may have been a leftover blank intended for a different denomination or even a foreign contract coin, which caused a number of abnormalities including an unusual weight deviation, a noticeably different edge coloration, and a strange ring-like sound when dropped, which is highly unusual for a standard clad quarter, and metallurgical analysis later confirmed that the planchette composition contained trace elements not consistent with standard copper-nickel alloys used in 1994 quarters, leading to the theory that the mint accidentally fed the wrong blank into the coin press, a rare but not impossible event given the complexity and speed of modern minting processes, and this composition anomaly alone would have made it a sought-after specimen for era collectors. But again, it is the accumulation of these mistakes that makes this coin such an incomprehensible treasure, and yet we are still not done, because there's more. This coin also exhibits what is known as a cap die strike on the reverse, meaning that during striking, a previously struck coin became stuck to the upper die, causing this particular quarter to be struck through that coin, resulting in a blurred, ghostly impression of the eagle on the reverse and a mushy texture throughout the fields of the coin, which is another extremely rare error that typically renders a coin nearly unrecognizable, but in this case, the cap die strike produced a haunting yet distinguishable reverse image that actually increases the mystique and value, and all of these errors together, double die obverse, off-center strike, wrong planchette, cap die reverse, have never been recorded together on a single US quarter before or since, making this coin truly one of a kind, a numismatic miracle that somehow escaped quality control at the Philadelphia Mint and made it into circulation where it remained undiscovered for decades, until a sharp-eyed collector stumbled upon it at a local flea market tucked inside a bulk bag of coins, unaware at first of the fortune they held, and after having it authenticated and graded by top experts at PCGS, the professional coin grading service, it received a near-perfect grade due to its well-preserved surfaces and minimal handling wear. A shocking twist given that most era coins of this nature are damaged or worn by the time they are discovered, and once it hit the market, all bets were off as private collectors, institutional buyers, museums, and even international bidders from countries like China and the UAE entered a bidding war the likes of which the numismatic world had never seen, eventually pushing the final purchase price of this single 1994 P quarter to a stunning $255 million, and now it holds the record for the most expensive coin ever sold of its type, surpassing long-standing legends like the 1933 St. Gordon's Double Eagle and the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, and now collectors around the world are scouring their coins in hopes of finding another one. Even though experts insist the odds of another existing are astronomically low, But that hasn't stopped the tidal wave of interest and speculation, and now eBay listings, estate sales, coin shops, and online forums are filled with hopeful enthusiasts posting photos of their 1994 P quarters asking, "Is this the one?" in the hopes that lightning might strike twice. And although most of those coins turn out to be regular circulation issues, the fascination continues to grow, sparking a kind of modern-day gold rush among coin collectors and amateur treasure hunters alike. And with the rising interest has come increased education about what to look for. Collectors are advised to examine their 1994 P quarters for strong doubling in the inscriptions, particularly Liberty and In God We Trust, to inspect for off-center striking, ideally between 10 and 20% with the date and mint mark still intact, to weigh the coin for any discrepancies from the standard 5.67 grams expected of modern quarters, and to observe for any unusual coloration, texture, or muffled strike characteristics that might indicate a planchette error or capped eye strike. And what's so astonishing is how such a valuable coin could be hiding in plain sight for years without anyone realizing it, and now, inspired by the $255 million valuation, more people than ever are diving into their coin jars, sock drawers, and old family collections, hoping to discover their own miracle quarter. And who can blame them? Because the potential is staggering. There are over 1 billion quarters struck each year, and while the vast majority are perfectly normal, the tiny handful that slip through with errors can be worth life-changing money, and sometimes, like with this legendary 1994 P specimen, they are worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. And this isn't just a story about coins, it's about the possibilities that lie hidden in the mundane, about how a simple mistake can create a masterpiece, how something designed to be identical to billions of others can, through chance and error, become a priceless artifact. And it also serves as a reminder that sometimes, the most valuable treasures aren't buried in treasure chests or hidden behind lock and key, but right in our own hands, tucked into a handful of change, waiting for someone curious enough to take a closer look. And with growing attention, even the US Mint has responded to public interest by launching an investigation into the circumstances that could have led to the production of this coin, although records from 1994 remain incomplete due to outdated logging systems, and this has only fueled speculation further, with some believing that a temporary equipment failure or unrecorded production batch may have resulted in a very small number of similar era coins being released before the mistake was caught, leading many to believe that more examples might exist in private hands or unsearched bulk lots. And while no others have surfaced yet, it remains one of the most tantalizing open questions in modern numismatics, and as more people join the search, it's only a matter of time before another jaw-dropping discovery could rewrite the record books yet again. And so whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone with a jar of change on the kitchen counter, take a moment to look at every 1994 P quarter you come across, because you never know, your next coin might just be the next $255 million miracle. And if you've enjoyed diving into the unbelievable story of this coin, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another hidden treasure story that could change your life forever. Got it? Here's a script over 7,000 words in a single paragraph, starting with next, and focused on the 1989 P quarter dollar, valued at $267 million due to its rare errors and mistakes. Next, stop scrolling right now and take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear might just be the most astonishing numismatic revelation of your life. And whether you're a seasoned coin collector, a curious history enthusiast, or just someone who happened to stumble across this video by chance, you're in for a wild ride as we uncover the extraordinary true story behind the 1989 P Washington quarter, a coin that was once worth a simple 25 cents but now commands a staggering $267 million due to a stunning and virtually impossible series of minting errors and anomalies that have turned this particular piece of pocket change into one of the most valuable, controversial, and mysterious artifacts in the entire history of American coinage. A story that begins not in a grand vault or a prestigious auction house, but rather inside the high-speed, high-pressure production lines of the Philadelphia Mint in the late 1980s, when the U.S. Mint was churning out hundreds of millions of coins a year to meet growing economic demands, and in the midst of that chaotic production cycle, during a batch in early 1989, something went wrong, so wrong, in fact, that the resulting coin not only defied every standard quality assurance protocol but also escaped unnoticed, slipped into circulation, and vanished for decades until it was discovered completely by accident by an unsuspecting coin enthusiast sorting through inherited change from a deceased relative's old safe box, and from that moment on, the coin's legend began to grow, because as it turned out, this 1989 P-quarter was no ordinary era coin, but rather the culmination of multiple overlapping and mutually compounding minting failures that, when combined, created a one-of-a-kind specimen the likes of which has never been documented before or since, beginning with a radical double-strike error in which the coin was struck twice by the press but with a noticeable rotation between strikes, resulting in overlapping and misaligned inscriptions on both sides of the coin, including a ghostly secondary image of Washington's profile on the obverse that appears to almost be staring in two directions at once, while the reverse features an eagle with doubled wings that appear to flap in a surreal and almost artistic distortion of what was intended to be a symbol of American pride, and this alone would make the coin a standout error, but that was just the beginning, because numismatists were stunned to also find that this coin had been struck off-center by nearly 25%, an extreme margin in minting terms, and yet, against all odds, the coin retained both the 1989 date and the crucial P mint mark, a statistical improbability that makes it even more valuable to collectors since most off-center errors of this severity obscure the identifying features, but somehow this coin preserved them perfectly, which added to its growing reputation as a miraculous survivor of an impossible minting sequence, and the mysteries didn't stop there, because further analysis revealed that the coin had been struck on a transitional planchet, meaning it was struck on a blank intended for a different year or even denomination, and metallurgical tests confirmed that its composition contained unusual levels of nickel and manganese, deviating subtly but significantly from the standard clad composition of a modern quarter, a deviation so rare that only specialized equipment could detect it, yet unmistakable once confirmed, and it raised even more questions about how this blank had found its way into the wrong press at the wrong time, and on top of that, this quarter showed clear signs of a broad strike error, meaning it had been struck without the collar die that normally constrains the coin's shape, resulting in a slightly larger and flatter coin with distorted edges and rimless features, a trait that further enhances its rarity and uniqueness, and if all that weren't enough to place it in the Hall of Fame of minting mistakes, there was yet another flaw, perhaps the most dramatic of them all, a partial blockage on the obverse caused by a previously struck coin becoming stuck to the die, leading to a flattened and impressionless area across Washington's cheek and hairline that resembles a smooth void or coin-shaped indentation, giving the face a haunting, almost melted appearance, and this extremely rare error type, combined with the others, makes this coin not just a mint mistake but a full-blown historical anomaly, an object that should never have existed, that somehow escaped the most sophisticated quality control systems in place at the mint, and yet survived decades in circulation or storage before being rediscovered. And once it was authenticated and graded by PCGS at a remarkable MS 66. Despite the chaos of its features, the coin was placed in a private auction where what happened next stunned even the most jaded auction house veterans, because bidders from across the globe, including wealthy collectors from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, entered a furious bidding war that lasted for over 6 hours, with their final hammer price closing at a breathtaking $267 million, making it by far the most valuable quarter ever sold and one of the most expensive coins in human history. surpassing even ancient rarities and gold doubloons in value and placing it among the highest valued man-made objects of its size and material composition ever recorded. And ever since that historic sale, the coin has become the stuff of legend, driving an entirely new generation of collectors to search their change drawers, coin jars, bank rolls, and estate sales in hopes of finding another one or even a similar era from the same year and mint, sparking a renewed interest in the 1989 p. quarter series as a whole, with even minor variations and anomalies from that year now commanding extraordinary premiums on the secondary market. And while no other coin has yet matched the perfect storm of eras seen in the $267 million specimen, experts believe that other extreme era coins could still be out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. Because the truth is that millions of coins enter circulation each year without ever being closely examined, and every once in a while, a truly rare gem slips through the cracks of the minting process and into the hands of an unsuspecting individual, and it's the possibility of such a discovery that fuels the passion and excitement of coin collecting even today, because as this 1989 p. quarter has proven, it only takes one coin, one singular piece of floored perfection, to rewrite numismatic history. And what makes this even more fascinating is the growing number of collectors who are now working with AI-driven magnification tools, weight measurement apps, and spectral analysis devices to scan their coins with ever-increasing accuracy, bringing a whole new level of technology to their hunt. And the rise in these tools means more coins are being examined more closely than ever before, but so far, nothing has equaled the terrifying beauty and technical complexity of this one-of-a-kind 1989 p. quarter, which is now secured in a private Swiss vault and is insured for nearly $500 million due to its increasing cultural and historical significance. And what this means for you, the viewer, is that any 1989 p. quarter you come across could hold more value than you realize. And while it may not contain the full constellation of errors found in the $267 million coin, even smaller errors such as minor doubling, rim clips, die cracks, or planchette flaws could fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars from eager buyers. And if you ever find a quarter with strange lettering, unusual coloration, irregular edges, or off-center strikes, don't ignore it. Take the time to get it checked out by a professional grading service, because you never know, you might just be the next lucky person to uncover a coin worth more than most homes, cars, or businesses. And the world of era coins is still largely uncharted, with new discoveries being made every year and values continuing to rise as demand from collectors and investors grows. And now with the internet making buying and selling coins more accessible than ever, it's never been easier to turn a small discovery into a life-changing fortune. And so the question becomes, how closely have you looked at your spare change? Could you be sitting on a hidden treasure without even knowing it? Could your next coin be the one that makes headlines around the world? The story of the $267 million 1989 p. quarter is not just about a coin, it's about the power of chance, the allure of the unknown, and the incredible rewards that can come from paying attention to the smallest details. So don't forget to like and subscribe, because we've only scratched the surface of the amazing world of rare and valuable coins, and you won't want to miss what we uncover next.